Here we go. Hey.
What's up, Klass?
Yo,
Oh, man.
Man, once again, it's your boy Klass. You know, we're live and direct at the LA Record Fair with my man. He's a true staple of LA hip hop. In case you don't know, if you're really part of the hip hop culture, then you know my man, Ben Grimm.
Yo, man. What's up, family?
I'm so looking forward to this.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to this too, man. That's an honor.
And one of the things I like talking about is the origins of hip hop culture, where the person comes from.
Yes.
And yourself.
Yes.
Straight from LA.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
South Central.
Absolutely.
So, how did you get into hip hop?
Well, the beautiful thing about how to get into hip hop is, the funny thing is my parents are from Belize, and then my whole family's Belizean, and that's another thing that a lot of people that's outside of Los Angeles, Southern California, outside of the state of California, don't realize and understand. There's a massive Belizean community here in LA, and we're in South Central, Compton, Watts, Inglewood, Crenshaw. We blend in, you know what I'm saying? And we rough, tough, and rugged. So, like how the Jamaican community is massive in New York, the Belizean community is massive here in LA. And then my parents came here in 1970, 71. I was born in 73. So at that time,
the year when hip hop was born.
So what was considered rap music at the time, the first time we heard something was Rapper's Delight and Christmas rap. And these are the breaks. And my father bought all those records because we was buying 45s. I was buying, there was a record store on the corner of Vermont and 54th Street. And in that plaza, we would just always buy 45 records. You know what I'm saying? Then we would go to the record store, which was probably VIP Records on the corner of Florence and Vermont.
Oh, so your father was already into rap music?
My father was a part of a sound system in Belize. And he was connected with a famous Belizean band called The Professionals. He was connected with them. And The Professionals has a very famous breakbeat that people sample called The Godfather Part 2. So they got some incredible music. The album is incredible to sample from. So my father was in the streets at a young age and was in the dance halls. You know, it was a real good live dance. He was well known for that. And my uncle was a DJ as well. So let's bring it back up to speed. My mother was buying records, and they were young back in 1970. They were, God bless my dad, he's 75, will be 76. My mom's gonna be turning 76 soon in December. So let's take it back to 71. They was buying records, like crazy. So we had 45s all over the place, 12 inches all over the place. So my origins of rap music before I even knew what hip hop was Rapper's Delight, Christmas rap, and These Are the Breaks by Curtis Blow. Curtis Blow was very important, right along with the Sugar Hill Gang, you understand me? And my father had Blowfly records on the low, you know what I'm saying?
Oh man.
Word.
Was it, let me touch on the Blowfly.
Okay.
Was there any particular song
to this day, I haven't really listened to any of that. I just know I see it in the crates.
Oh, you were just gravitating with the covers.
Exactly. So the interesting thing about rap music at that time, the terminology hip hop wasn't even known. At that time, we thought what we were listening to was an extension of funk, because the type of music that Parliament Funkadelic was doing and George Clinton and things of that nature, when you heard rap music, it was like an extension of what Cameo and them was doing already. So we didn't know that was rap. Rap music was not funk music. My parents didn't differentiate. They just thought that was another form of, like, you know, funk.
Ah, okay.
Right.
Now, so I'm assuming you first heard rap music through the records, or did you hear them on the radio?
Heard them on the radio, sitting in the back seat in the wintertime. I remember.
Was this on what was it, 1230 KGFJ?
It was on KGFJ.
Now, I know there's gonna be a lot of heads out there who might think that K-Day, 1500 K-Day is the first radio station to play rap music out here in LA. Well, in fact, it was 1230, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
KGFJ were the first ones to play
Absolutely.
rap music.
And so let's jump to that, because Uncle Jam's Army would spin on the weekends. And they would spin around the 2 o'clock hour between 2 and 4, like the way the Mixmasters was doing on the Mixmaster show from 8 to 11 on Saturday nights.
Yeah.
So Saturday in the afternoon, they were spinning records like Release Yourself and Captain Rob and Only Nine and Egyptian Lover. The first time I heard an answer to a record, so there's Sucker MCs by Run DMC. The first time I heard the answer to that was by Dimples D, that MC Shan talks about in the bridge.
Yeah.
Dimple D had a song called Sucker DJs. That was the answer to Sucker MCs. There was records like Curtis Blow, The Bronx, I heard on that record, on that radio station. Yo, KGFJ was playing everything, just like K-Day was. K-Day basically took the baton.
Because if I'm not mistaken, like KGFJ, at that time they had what was the first West Coast record label.
Zulu.
It was Disco Rappers Rock
Yes.
Records. That's why they played Disco Daddy,
All of that.
Captain Rob.
All that.
Now, do you remember any of the early West Coast records?
Specifically, the only records coming out the West Coast when I started to do the outside. So electro funk is connected to that to me. So when you talk about that, you're talking about Egyptian Lover. So for me, Egyptian Lover was indeed one of the origins. After that was influenced by Kraftwerk and Soul Sonic Force. And we took on that mantle. You know what I'm saying?
Now, were you blessed enough to attend any of the Uncle Jam's Army? Or
Too young. But what I was doing was riding up in the streets in my daddy's car, taking the bus and seeing Uncle Jam's Army on Western and Slauson. So they was on the western side. Now it ain't nothing but a big plaza. But at one point it was a small plaza and they was in the cut. You know what I'm saying? And then under my nose, I didn't realize when my family moved to Gardena or outside of West Athens, that on Vermont and Imperial, in the corner was Uncle Jam's Army as well. You know what I'm saying? I pride myself about Vermont because to this day, my family been on Vermont most of their lives. You know what I'm saying? So I'm coming from the east side of the west side of town. You know what I'm saying? I've always been a Vermont Avenue kid. You know what I'm saying?
Now, do you remember your first image of hip hop?
My first image of hip hop
in the streets when you started.
Was when my father bought my older sister, Dr. Dre's Surgery, and he bought me Fat Boys, the album, the first Fat Boys album.
Wow.
And see, the Fat Boys for my age was obtainable, meaning yes, you had Run DMC, but Fat Boys was for the children. They were like a mini Run DMC. Cool Rock Ski and Prince Marky D were like Run DMC Jr. And so the kids gravitated to that. I began beatboxing first before MCing because I wanted to be like Buff D. You know what I'm saying? It was such a fad. It was such a big thing to be a beatbox. You know what I'm saying?
Do you still beatbox to this day?
I can still get out. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'll tell you this much. One time at the Beat Swap meet, Drew Capone had a set and his DJ couldn't get the record right. So something was going haywire with the equipment. So I just grabbed the mic and I beatboxed for Drew Capone the whole joint. You know what I mean? Word.
Hey, shout out to Drew Capone. I haven't seen a homie in a while.
I know, that's the big homie right there. So, you know, West Coast records that I can tell you, like Dezo Daz, It's My Turn, where it says Compton in the house, Techno Hop Records, King T. I remember when I first heard King T on K-Day, I heard Payback's Mother playing with Nobody Beats the Biz. I heard both of those records for the first time in the afternoon mix. And so I heard Payback's Mother. Yeah, in the afternoon mix. And I'm thinking, is that LL Cool J? No, that's DJ Pooh and King T. Like, impeccable MCing. You know what I'm saying? Coming from the West Coast. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, you got Ice-T. And Ice-T was doing Dog in the Wax and You Don't Quit. You know what I'm saying? But before that, let me also tell you about my other first experience when my parents took me, my older sister, and I, and my brother to Culver City, to a theater that's still there in Culver City. And they showed a double feature. They showed Breaking and Beat Street. So Beat Street first, and then right after that they showed Breaking.
And the year it was released?
Yes, the year it was released.
Yeah, because
double feature.
those two movies came out not too far, like weeks apart from each other, right? If I'm not
At the
mistaken.
same damn time.
Yeah,
And so
the same month.
I'm seeing the aspects of East Coast hip hop and West Coast hip hop. So also another thing people need to know, there was no such thing as a coast.
No.
There was no such thing as a coast until later on in the 90s. Before that, it was about you being dope or fresh or deaf or whack.
Yeah.
It didn't have nothing to do with you being
And
from
especially
a coast.
no biting
Oh, no biting allowed.
at all. It was a huge no. Yeah, because I'm an 80s baby. You know, I
Word
grew up
up.
in the 80s.
Word up.
I was in the cut.
Yeah.
I remember a lot of stuff.
Word
a lot
up.
of things you talk about. I
Word
remember.
up. Yeah.
You know,
So here's also some West Coast influence records from New York. So AJ by Curtis Blow. You can't play that in the '60s because you can't play that you can't play that in the '60s because the A trades would say AJ.
I never thought about
Right,
that.
you know what I'm saying? And then you had Sembi back in 30 days. The Rolling 30s would play that song by Run DMC. You know what I'm saying? Because he was talking about the 30s. You know what I'm saying? So there was certain records that we adopted, like You Got to Chill, because they used the Zap records. Certain records we adopt. PSK is one of the most important records on the West Coast because of I used to see the Hustlers play two records. They would play Jam Master Jay because how it was pumping out of the Cadillacs and the Nissans, and they would play PSK by Schoolie D. The Hustlers would play that, and then you could hear the Hustler, you could hear PSK influence. 6 in the morning, PSK making that green. 6 in the morning, police in my door. The boys in the hood was always home. So when people want to say, what's the first gangster rap?
PSK.
PSK. And it's funny because that was a time when people were subliminal. So he broke down the acronym of PSK.
But you know what's a
But
trip?
it was Parkside Killers, 5 Park.
But you know what's a trip
Parkside
that World Class Wrecking Crew have a song called Gangbang
Right.
on their album.
That's
And
a
this
hard
is 85
record.
too.
That's a hard record.
This came in the same year as PSK.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know which one came out first, but PSK was pretty much direct.
Right. Right.
You know, but I just wanted to throw it out there.
And also, there's another East Coast record that was a heavy influence on the West Coast. It was Looking for a Hobo or Hobo Scratch, Malcolm McLaren. You know what I'm saying? Those records were very important. You know what I'm
Yeah, it
saying?
was.
Buffalo Girls. Those were very important records in LA. You know what I'm saying? So it was a mixture of East and West before there was a such thing as East and West. It was just the music that was a soundtrack to your life. Divine Sounds, What People Do for Money was like a knockoff of Run DMC's It's Like That, and that's the way it is. But those particular songs that I'm mentioning, those were like songs for the everyday lifestyle of living in LA. Like when I listen to songs like What People Do for Money and Hard Times, and it's like that, and that's the way it is. That reminds me of LA life. It doesn't remind me of nothing of the East Coast, because that's how good the music was.
Yeah.
That it affected us in our surroundings.
Man, do you remember when EPMD came out?
Oh man, it was nothing like it.
We were super bumping
I remember
EPMD,
the night they
Strictly
dropped.
Business.
Hey man, I remember the night they dropped It's My Thing. So when they dropped It's My Thing on K-Day, it was crazy because two things happened out of Long Island that was crazy. They played that, and maybe next week they played a group called the JVC Force, and they had a song called Strong Island, and everybody thought they was the same people because it was two cats, one with a lighter voice and one with a heavier voice, and they both sounded the same for those who didn't have a real sharp ear. So yeah, and when EPMD dropped, it was crazy with that. And then LA, another adopted LA song is You're a Customer. The Hustlers, before they kind of merged into with the gangbangers, we had hustlers like small Halldale Hustlers, Backstreet Hustlers. That was like fly.
Because when I think about EPMD, Strictly Business on their album, there was a time where pop locking was fading out.
Yeah.
EPMD came in, all of a sudden, officially came back.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of cats that started pop locking again to that album because of the production, the beat.
Yeah, you gotta understand
that West Coast sound.
Yeah, respect to the break culture, the b-boy culture. At some point, cats was doing the RoboCop, the Freddy Krueger, the E.T., you know what I'm saying, was doing the WAP.
What was your favorite dance back then?
Huh?
What was your favorite dance move back then?
Mine?
Yeah.
No, I was just...
What was the move that, you know, like,
I'm mentioning them.
Fresh.
The RoboCop, the Freddy Krueger.
I remember the Freddy.
The Prep. The Guess. You know what I mean? The E.T., you know what I'm saying? So it was them type of dances that was attracting the girls. That's why MC Hammer was so big, because he was doing those type of dances that was getting the girls, you know what I'm saying? So at one point, the Running Man was a thing, and doing the WAP.
The Cabbage Patch.
All of that. All of those dances, they all translated, you know what I'm saying? So break dancing and b-boying had to take a back seat, because the whole thing was to stand up and not get your clothes dirty and pull a shorty. You know what I'm saying?
Which originally, I know nowadays they call it the hip hop dance, but originally that was the trendy.
Yeah, it was a trendy joint.
For the New Jack Swing era, it was a trendy era.
Yeah.
The freak era.
Yeah, the freak era.
Which had, turning to the hip hop dance.
Yeah, because
shout out to all the Cutting Macs, the Soul Brothers, Ski, the godfathers of this dance style.
Yeah, man, you know what I'm saying? So there was a lot of different things, man. But I'm glad you asked me these questions, because I definitely wanted to let people know that records that was coming out the East Coast was also affecting the West Coast, like Cinderfella by Dana Dane was a big record for the gangbangers that was driving down the streets, because it was blowing out the fucking speakers. So two records that was competing with each other was Cinderfella and also The Ruler's Back by Slick Rick. Believe it or not, that was the bigger record in the streets than Children's Story.
Yeah,
Children's Story did what it did, but the hood was feel me?
Now, can you remember?
Yeah.
And where were you when Scotty D? I'm sorry. Shout out to Scotty D, by the way. When Battle Rap by Toddy T came out.
I was sitting down trying to tape off of KGFJ. I was by the radio trying to tape it off of KGFJ, and I heard it. And the funny thing is, it's amazing when you hear songs that's based on something that really happened. So a lot of people outside of LA don't realize, like, there was a motherfucking take without the cannon replaced with a fucking battering ram. And that shit was going through fucking houses in Compton on the east side of town.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It wasn't really on my side of town, but we would hear that it was going through Watson in Compton. And you would see that shit on the news and literally see these big tank ass mechanisms running down houses. They was doing us dirty, huh?
And for Toddy T to make a song about that?
That was the biggest record.
Because that was a huge hit in the streets of LA.
I got that in my crates right now.
Oh, you got it on wax?
Yeah, I got it on wax right now. Yeah.
And we got to my big homie, Toddy T.
Oh, man, salute. Salute.
Now, what about Mixmaster Ken, Helicopter?
Say it again?
Mixmaster Ken.
Oh, man,
Helicopter.
I'm not sure.
Super underrated. But Helicopter. You remember Helicopter?
Oh, no, I don't. I'm going to keep it 100.
Because we had Mixmaster Spade, Toddy T, and Mixmaster Ken.
Salute to the OGs.
He dropped Helicopter.
Right.
Street anthem.
Right.
You get a chance?
You ever heard Poetry in Motion?
Yes.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Records like Killer Dayton's, you know what I'm saying?
This is more late 80s, right?
Yeah.
88?
Yeah. You know, I'm going to still keep it 80s with mine, you know what I'm saying?
They have a song with the diss NWA, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, am I wrong?
Say it again?
They have a diss track.
No, there was a cat that was, not that I know of, because I know Dr. Dre produced Killer Dayton's.
Okay, so who am I thinking about?
You're talking
Delicious
about
Vinyl.
From Delicious Vinyl. Yeah, and I had just put it up on my Facebook page. Romeo. And what he did, he was
Romeo?
Yeah.
From K-Day Mixmaster Romeo?
No, not Mixmaster Romeo. The MC name was Romeo. I can't forget the other name of the other dude. Master Rob, I think. Master Rob and Romeo or something like that.
That's when they're two dudes in the cover, they're by the grave.
Yeah,
the end
that part. And they rapped over Dramatics, what you see is what you get.
I remember.
And K-Day was playing that regularly, you know what I'm saying? You know, so it was a dope record. It was definitely That's why when a lot of people from outside of LA don't understand when Eazy-E says Master Rhyme is a toy, not Master Rhyme, Master Rhyme.
Right.
So it's Romeo and Master Rhyme. So when he says Master Rhyme is a toy on Eazy Does It, he's talking about the rift they had between each other. You know what I'm saying?
Now, you ain't no stranger to the fat cap, to the spray.
No.
You know, when did you start writing?
I started riding Nike in 1986, 85, 86. And I was a toy, you know what I'm saying? I was a toy.
We were all toys and everything we all did.
We are all graffiti artists.
Yeah. There was also, everybody was a toy. Even Ice-T said it once, that everybody's a toy.
You gotta crawl before you walk, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What
if, do you remember, you know, what you saw that got you inspired to start doing the graffiti?
Well, Create, my buddy, my best friend, OG Create from RTN, L2S, WCA, TMT. We've been best friends since we've been freshmen at John Muir Junior High, again off of Vermont.
Wow.
And I saw him writing, like drawing a B-boy. I didn't know what it was. And I'm beatboxing to myself. So he was like, we came together. I said, oh, you drawing a rapper. I didn't know what a B-boy was. I said, you drawing a rapper because, you know, the stance that he was, drawing. And from there on, man, Create used to be from a crew called OCA, Organized Crime Artists.
Okay.
And his favorite artist to this day is Ice-T. So I remember I was from CMA, eventually OG Castro from his origins from another crew before that in the early 80s called CCA, Cold Crush Artists, a great graffiti crew out of South Central, and two twins, Keenan Lur, rest in peace Lur, and Casio, and one other. And they were doing amazing characters, amazing letters, and then Castro took on the mantle and turned it into Criminal Minded Artists. Now here's the deal, one day I'm gonna run into KRS-One. When we got the Criminal Minded album, that's when my man turned Coast to Coast Artist. First it was Cold Crush Artist, then Coast to Coast Artist, then he turned it into Criminal Minded Artists.
Wow.
So we've been CMA since 1986 based on that album. You know what I'm saying?
Now, how many crews were out there in that time?
Oh, it was a plethora of crews. It was crews all over. You know what I'm saying? It was crews all over.
Because
hundreds.
Most of us, you know, we credit Soon, you know,
Salute
from
to
the
Soon,
Bronx
that's
when
the
he
big
moved out here.
homie.
You know,
That's the big
he started
homie.
introducing, you know, graffiti.
Yeah, Soon was one of the pioneers that came here
And
with
that's
that.
when it started slowly spreading.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
so, and Soon moved out here like what, 83, 84?
Right, because his mom moved out here. You know what I'm saying? And you know, my boy Mark 7, which is another old legendary OG
Mark
of
7.
graffiti culture. Now him and Soon is a part of a group called the Young Lords. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
the one thing about hip hop is that, for example, if you go to a massive graffiti crew like CBS, you're gonna find people in there like the Shapeshifters. You understand what I'm saying? You're gonna find MCs, you're gonna find B-boys, you're gonna find DJ turntablists, you're gonna find all that shit.
It reminds me of what's that crew I'm thinking about from the early 80s. They used to run club radio before it was Redditron. Shake City Rockers.
Oh,
you know,
salute.
Shake City, what was it? They were B-boys, they were style riders,
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
MCs, they were DJs.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
in fact, shout out to my boy Craze One, who created the Radiotron logo. The iconic
Wow, that's
Radiotron logo.
amazing.
Shake
And,
City.
you know, that's
you
what I'm
know.
saying. I was too young to go to Radiotron. You know what I'm saying? I'm the next generation after that. I was too young to go to Radiotron.
So how old were you in 86 when you started writing?
In 86, I was about 13, about 12, 13,
And this
because I'm 52 now. So y'all do the math and we're going to get back to that.
So you weren't too young to go to Radiotron. You were perfect for the Radiotron age because Radiotron was all teenagers.
Yeah, the only thing is, being that I came out of a Belizean household, ain't no motherfucking way I was coming up out the house at night. No, sir, there was no such thing. My ass was in the house before the street lights came on. You feel me? So, word is bond.
See, because to me, bro, I consider you one of the originators of West Coast hip hop
appreciate it.
culture.
Thank you, sir.
You know,
Thank
and
you.
right now, like you said,
Thank you.
writing from '86 and right.
Yeah.
When did you start rhyming?
I started rhyming right around that same time.
Really?
Matter of fact, I was beatboxing coming out of the 6th grade. So that was already 84 and 85. So then when I came to John Muir Junior High, I was just beatboxing. And then my homeboy was a dope MC. His name was KC. So I was beatboxing for him. And then I would start beatboxing for we would make up crews every other week. And I was the beatbox. And we would go into the corner of this little tunnel area that was behind the gym. And I would go in the corner and I would beatbox, because if you beatbox in the corner, the acoustics would bounce out.
Yeah.
And I used to go by the name of the ultrasonic beatbox. You know what I'm saying?
Beatbox.
And then I was just so fascinated with how my boy was so articulate lyrically. It was right around the time Pee Wee Herman. You know what I'm saying? We was battling Mixed Master
character
Wolf.
of the song.
The song. And matter of fact, in the 8th grade, I was beatboxing for KC, and we battled the beatbox that was, at the time, his name was Sean, and his MC was Mixmaster Wolf, the Mixmaster Wolf.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And we won that battle. You know what I'm saying?
How many names did you have before Ben Grimm came to place?
Many names, man.
What was the graph name back then?
My graph name, my toy name was Sark, and then I came into Prophet because when Public Enemy said Farrakhan's a prophet, I think you ought to listen to from Bring the Noise. I was so fascinated with that, so I started writing Prophet for the rest of my duration. And then I had the K-Dubs. They would have a 3-letter name as an alias to their regular name. So I took the word ill, E-E-E-L, like I said, something eulogizing MCs lyrically. So that was the acronym meaning for that.
Oh.
And so my MC name was Prestige,
Okay.
MC Prestige, and then I became Prophet Prestige. Then I left that, took Shahada, had to drop the prophet thing because that was blasphemous in Islam to be calling yourself a prophet when Muhammad is the prophet. So, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So then my boys, when I took my Shahada, was calling me by my Muslim name, Shaheed. So then I became Shaheed, and then Shaheed the Blade Runner, and then the reason why I came to Grimm, and I'm gonna leave it right here, my beloved brother Akil from Jurassic 5, I was having my little issues with my ego. And I was like, y'all Jurassic 5? Well, my crew is the Skullistic 4. And I'm gonna call myself Ben Grimm.
Ooh, okay.
It's all love now, we all laugh at it. So now Ben
what year
Grimm,
was this?
huh?
What year are we talking about?
Huh?
What year is this coming from?
Oh, this is coming in, this is in the 90s. Now this is in the 90s. You know what I'm saying? This is in the 90s. In the 90s.
Mid-90s?
And then I had to change the energy of the word Grim because there was a lot of MCs named Grim Reaper. And I'm gonna leave it I changed it to Grim, short for Pilgrim, because I made my Hajj 2 times. I've been to Mecca and Medina 2 times in Arabia. So I said, you know what? Because Ben means son of pilgrim. So Ben Grimm is basically son of pilgrims. I didn't want to go with the energy of the Grim Reaper and none of that. I didn't want that. The angel of death and all that.
Now, I want to go stay in the 80s real quick before we step.
Yeah.
You already know, I'm a huge boombox collector.
I see that.
What was your favorite box back in the 80s?
The only one, it wasn't even...
Did you have a box?
Yeah, but it was my dad's. It wasn't like we had no choice. Whatever he brought home, we had to rock with that. I think it was a JVC joint. I don't know. It was a JVC joint. Okay. And what I hated about them fucking radios and clock radios in the hood, roaches used to try to get up in there and stay up in there where you do the dials at the end. I hated that.
Those are home.
That was some hood shit. Roaches used to like getting up in the radios.
Then they end up dying dead.
I'm gonna keep it 100, you feel me?
And real quick, so you say you were too young for Uncle Jem's Army.
Yeah.
For the Redditron.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you probably didn't go to Total Express. Remember Total Express and Lemon Park?
I ain't never been nowhere, because I was on a bus, and the gang situation was so bad. The gang situation was so bad It was only certain areas that I could take my bus and get on.
So you,
to,
you
I
missed out on Water the Bush? What about Unity? Did you ever go to Unity?
None of that. And I did at one point in 91 after I took my Shahada, I joined the Islamic community. So I went to an Islamic community on the East Coast and on the Southeast. And also I was in Charleston from 92 for 14 years. Not saying that I was coming back and forth to visit my parents, but I was living on the Southeast, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of the places that you mentioned, I wasn't there, you know what I'm saying?
Last question.
But what I did do, I kept my knife sharpened. I used to battle a lot of East Coast rappers and take them out. You know what I'm saying? Because
now here's the thing. People think that, especially out here in LA,
yeah,
it was super hot.
Oh,
to go to all these hip hop spots.
Oh yeah.
Because gangbanging was no joke back then.
No.
You know, in the 80s and especially in the 90s too.
Exactly.
You know, you really had to be connected.
Yeah,
I would say the heart to
right.
do what you gotta do.
I mean, I went to World on Wheels, me and my crew at the time, we performed, and I don't know for the life of me, because my homeboy, he stayed in the 60s, he gonna name the crew Neighborhood Posse. Listen now, I didn't know nothing about neighborhood avenues, none of that. I didn't have no idea or knowledge of gang cards. So when he called it Neighborhood Posse, he purposely did that shit. Because his family was in the 60s, he stayed off of West Street. You know what I'm saying? And then the other person stayed off of Bryanhurst. So we going to schoolyard, we going to damn World on Wheels to perform where the schoolyards, they're talking about neighborhood crib. I mean, neighborhood posse. On foot, on the bus. I never forget that night. Y'all know who y'all are. We had to get all the way home, take the bus. I remember when we got off the bus over there on Slauson and Crenshaw, it must have been like 12, 1 o'clock. The 60 started shooting up and we was ducking behind the wall, you know, over there where the Nipsey Hussle marathon. Yeah, we ducking behind that fence, behind the goddamn Shell gas station. We doing this shit for hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And I was wearing a burgundy Latigua sweater, a bright red Lee's, some shell-toed Adidas, and and a maroon terry cloth Kango hat. And I'm going to World on Wheels, Neighborhood Posse, dressing basically red. I was all discombobulated and naive, because all I could see was we doing this hip hop shit. I didn't even, nothing bothered me, nothing fazed me. Another thing that's beautiful about the gang culture, respect to that, the gang culture at that time, if they saw that you was a B-boy, they knew you was one.
Yes.
And they wouldn't fuck with you. They wouldn't necessarily mess with you.
A lot of these bangers were pop lockers themselves.
Yeah.
B-boys themselves.
Yeah.
MCs, DJs. And that was the only time there was a little peace treaty.
Word up.
You know, they knew who and who was from, but at the moment, if they're in hip hop, they let you alone.
So when they saw me sometimes, I'm B-boy down. Like I said, the terry cloth Kango like LL, the Latigua sweater, the Lee's on, the shell toes with no shoestrings in them. They would see with the fake gazelles from the swap me for $4. They would see me and they'd be like, oh shit. He's on some New York shit. Or he from New York. Or that's that shit they be doing on B Street or whatever. So they would give me a pass just on the way I carried myself.
It reminds me of this one story of Big Daddy Kane shared. He said he was in Hollywood. He said he was talking about he was in 1987, 88.
Yeah.
He was in Hollywood with a payphone talking, but he was all red. His suit. And a car pulled up, all blue, and they started banging on him. And then one of them said like, hold up, you look like one of those dancers. See? And he said like, yeah, you're good. And they took off.
See, people don't understand that about the gang culture of LA was that graffiti artists got a pass. That's why you saw pieces all over the city, because the gangbangers wasn't really sweating the graffiti artists or the B-boys. You know what I'm saying? They respected that shit, and I respect them for that. So, with all the murdering and the killing in the city they was doing on each other.
But when it came to hip hop,
there was isolated incidents where people was getting jacked for their cans. Or I got jacked for my starter. You couldn't have no starter jacket on, homie. You couldn't have no starter jacket on, no Raider starter jacket. They was gonna out you for that. You know what I'm saying? Raider gear, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Chicago Bulls gear, out of here. You know what I'm saying? But
But
other
see-
than that, man, it was all love. You know what I
But
mean?
see that, Grim, I gotta salute you.
Salute you,
Because-
Klass.
Nah, but not. See, in the 80s, like I said, I was in
Yeah.
the cut, I was running around, I was a little kid.
Yo,
But
we all were.
you were helping planting the roots. You know, you were contributing on planting the seeds of hip hop culture
Well,
on
I-
the West
well,
Coast.
well, I'll say
that's
this
why
much.
I consider you one of the
Thank you.
originators
Thank
of West
you.
Coast hip hop.
I'm not one of the movers and shakers, but I was there. You know what I'm saying? And I played my part, and you know, I was there. A lot of people don't know who I am. I don't care that they do or not, but I was there. You know what
But
I'm
we're
saying?
here
And
to
that's all that's
acknowledge you
important.
and to give you your flowers.
Thank you,
because
brother.
Their contributions and us to be here.
Yeah, man. And no disrespect to no hood and no sets and nobody. You know
All
what I mean?
love.
It's all about the whole historical context of this shit.
So once again, it's a boy Class 1. And
Word
we're
up.
here and we're out.
Peace.